of you, when you get that "we need to talk" text, you want to fade into the bushes like Homer right here. But my goal is to share 5 steps with you for giving and receiving tough feedback so you don't feel that pit of the stomach dread the next time you have to have a hard conversation. When you're on the receiving side, the practice is relational Aikido, and a Japanese martial art not pictured here, that the principle is to disarm without harm. So how do you minimize the judgment, projection, and blame that typically comes with a hard conversation? The first step, do nothing. Or as a friend once shouted at me, don't just do something, stand there. Take a full breath and don't jump in and try to fix it too quickly. The second step, once you've done nothing, is to completely listen. So how does somebody know that we're not listening to win, but we're listening to understand? We have to ask them a question, like, is there more I need to know? What else is important for me to understand? And make sure that they feel the intent to connect. The third step is to reflect and confirm what we heard. We'd love to get vibey like Shaq and this cat here, but the key step is to really confirm that understanding before moving forward. What I heard you say was blank. Did I get that right? The next step is to take ownership, which if an apology is warranted, this is a great place to put it, but it's not necessary. The necessary step is that we learn something from what the person shared that's going to help us improve the quality of the relationship moving forward. And the next step is to share impact, not like an eye roll like this angry baby, but to share our perspective with the person so the conversation is a two-way street. I learned X, or I hear Y is important to you, and I'm willing to make a commitment to improve that. And when we have to give feedback, we're looking to produce relational alchemy, turning relational lead into relational gold, and looking for that value even in a tough interaction. So how do we do that effectively? The first step is to seriously focus on the common ground that we have with this person, the why before the what. I want to see you get that promotion. I really want to improve the quality of our relationship. What can we do to get there together? Make yourself the adversary of this the ally of this person, not their adversary. Setting a specific context means that you're saying where you want to go together very clearly at the beginning of the conversation. The agenda, what are the outcomes that you want and why do you want it? Not why you're upset, but where you want to get together through the conversation. And getting consent is the next step, meaning you're setting aside a specific time when you're both available for the interaction, not just kind of shooting from the hip or coming in really quick and putting them off their game. And also making sure they're continually available throughout the conversation and you're not overwhelming them. Sharing the content means we do it in a very specific way: situation, behavior, impact. When X happened, Y was the result, right? We're not making big character indictments or judgments of the person. We're just trying to get them to understand the situation. And finally, checking for impact. Hopefully not like this, right? It's not gonna hit them too hard, but we wanna make room for them to respond with questions like, what's coming up for you? How did you see the situation? What was your perspective on this, right? Again, making sure that we're not feeling like we're trying to win, but we're trying to understand them. And when it goes off the rails and it's a flaming wreck and heading towards disaster because none of the tips went the way you thought they would, what can you do to kind of bring it back and really center to make sure you're gonna get to the best possible outcome? The first step, slow it down. Like the bullet train in the last talk, so few of us feel like we have permission to actually move slowly. But we can say something like, hey, I think we're moving a little fast. Could we pump the brakes? I just want to take a breath to center myself, which is the next step. I've heard it say, center yourself so you don't center yourself. Get it? Are you at the center of the conversation? Or is the person you're talking to actually entering your awareness without judgment or blame? Coming back to the why and the shared goals. Saying, hey, I really want the same thing as you. I want us to get there together. Can we focus on those outcomes? Because I feel like we're getting off track. Right, so really summing back to that shared goal every time you feel the conversation drifting away. And staying focused on the original context. If you agreed to talk about communication, we're not talking about budget or vice versa. And saying, hey, maybe we need to table that. Maybe we need to come back to that. Let's just stay focused on the original thing we agreed to discuss for the time that we've set aside. And it's not a failure if you need to pause the conversation, but it is a failure if you don't get the follow-up on the calendar. So not every tough conversation requires a resolution, but it does require a commitment to the next step. So if you need to pause and take a time out, that's okay, as long as you get the next session on the calendar. So thank you for your time today. I hope you took at least one insight into your next tough conversation, and we'll be happy to talk to you about how I could support you in making your next interaction a big success.